Hey, so I saw that picture that Lisa posted of you last weekend of you getting into the pool. You you looked so uncomfortable.
So look, it was 90 degrees outside, and I'd been working all day, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get in this pool, and the water temperature was 68 degrees, which I thought would feel nice, but that was not honestly the best decision on my part. And then Lisa captured the photo.
Great timing, by the way. Kudos to Lisa. That was great. And even better work posting it.
Yeah,
Just that's enjoyed that.
yeah. Are you taking a photo of that anyway? So why did you bring this up now?
This is a cold open. Hey, if you can start the show with a dad joke, you just got to set the tone and off we go. You check that box and we're rolling.
That's your one.
Welcome to Talking to Todd, a weekly podcast with Dewayne Johnson and Todd Prinz, where failure is always an option. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Good week. Well, we'll talk more about that during what I learned this week, but
as you said, look, it's either a good week or it's content. So
we've been saying that a long time. Yeah, what'd you get? I got content.
the worse our week is, the better it is for our listeners. Okay.
Because what did you say a couple weeks ago? Because the humor is in the pain.
I may have said that. Yeah. That's pain plus distance equals humor is what I'm told. So, and on this, because it's a weekly show, distance equals 6 days or less. So you got to be good with it.
You over it? Enough. I'm over it enough.
I wasn't, but we're about 15 minutes short of content. So you know what? Here's the story.
Oh, so if you have feedback or follow-up or updates or voicemails or suggestions, send us your feedback at talkingtotodd.com, or also CPA 515, also CPA, not, as I have been informed, 800 also CPA. That does not reach us.
I'm assuming it reaches somebody.
I guess so. I called 800 also CPA. I'm like, oh, dude, it's 515 also CPA. Oh, yeah, that would explain something. That's 515-257-6272. Send us your voicemail. Amy and I listened to a new podcast, and it's like a 2 or 3 minute quick hitter, but they answer your questions. So people call in and leave a voicemail with a question that they need an answer to.
Okay.
And the podcast does a little research and answers their question on the air. And sometimes it's dumb stuff like, why can't the title of one particular of them was, why can't I shake an earworm? And Amy says, I don't need to listen to this. I don't even like earthworms. And I said, wait, earworm. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll listen to that.
Okay. So, it's probably good that we're not doing that kind of thing, because the first thing I heard when you said, how do you shake an earworm? My first thought was, with COVID, you shouldn't be shaking anything. Yeah. So that's probably not as helpful.
Shake it till you make it. So anyway, so if you have questions that you would like us to try to answer, we'll try this out. 515, also CPA, 515-257-6272. Or, start your own segment and we'll air it, or God knows what. We're always looking for content. Anyway, let's see, feedback.
Yeah, apparently you could just call in and record your own segment with beginning, middle, and end. You could pose the question and answer it if you want. We'll just, we'll just fold it into the show.
Just fold it in. So Amy, toddler number 1, had some feedback on, was it what I learned this week, last week, where I learned that you can pin conversations on your iPhone?
I believe that's right. Yes.
She didn't know about that function either. Once again, talking to Todd, your educational podcast.
I'm trying to figure out how this works in your house, though. You learn something about your phone. You go, hey, this is really neat. And instead of saying, hey, Amy, you come on the podcast a few days later, tell everybody, and then wait for Amy to listen to the podcast so that she can hear you tell her something you learned that she can then use.
That's how it works.
Okay. All right. So, back in my college days, my job was working for the public radio stations. And so I would just sit and, listen to public radio, and then every once an hour come in, get on the microphone, tell the time, whether or not there's a tornado headed your way, and then play the next hour-long show or whatever. On a one night, so I got to listen to a whole lot of public radio for a number of years. One night on a Prairie Home Companion, before that became problematic, they used to take questions from the audience, and then he would read them. And one of the ones that he read, this just one stood out, and this reminds me of what you said, it said, Mom and Dad lost the job with the free long distance. I'm fine. This is how I'm communicating to you from now on. Love, Brian. And I thought, yeah, there you go. So I'm just imagining in your house, though, Amy's looking over and going, what are you doing? And you say, listen on Friday, plus minus.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Other feedback. Sarah Judson Brown, toddler number -18. Last week was the second week in a row that we've made an Arby's joke.
Okay.
If we do 3 shows in a row, it's officially a running gag.
Ooh, a running gag.
She doesn't make the rules. That's the definition of a running gag. So,
do we have a rate card that we could charge Arby's for a running gag? Like, I understand they're not sponsoring us, but could we just say, we've been mentioning you on our podcast, here's a bill?
Yes, but it would be, again, plus minus what the cost is of a spicy gyro. And for the record, Arby's added gyros to the everyday value lineup, and your choice is roast beef, turkey, or Greek style gyro meat. This was the email that I got.
Okay.
What exactly is Greek style gyro meat? Not actual gyro meat.
You know how
meat in the style.
You know how you can get crab with a K?
Yeah. I think you pretty much have the situation pegged there, Jake.
Look, here's the thing. Look, we do roast beef. That's what it is. It's all roast beef. We just call it Greek style Euro meat, but it's roast beef. So, because we got a lot of roast beef. That's what it is.
Oh, it could be. Oh, sweet Lord. This is not my joke. I'm just reading what was emailed to me. It could be the best news you've heard all year. Oh.
See, here's the thing. You didn't tell the joke. You read it, but you didn't have to read that in front of a live microphone. So that is on you. And your moaning isn't that it's a bad joke. You're just wishing you came up with it.
Yes, I am. Yes, that's pretty much, that's where the complaint is.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, they're stealing all of our good stuff. That's the good stuff? Yeah. What is that? That's Greek style comedy. So, yeah.
Let's see. Did you have feedback?
Nope. No feedback this week.
Okay. Then let's move into follow-up. We've got this crossover potential crossover or something anyway going on with the Educated Idiots. Lots of potential cross promotion, and at some point our schedules will align so that we can appear on each other's podcasts. I did not have a chance to listen to them this week to see if they had any clapback on our digs from last week. I don't know.
Well, so I will think that I will say, listening this week, Doug did introduce the concept to Dan on air about doing like a cross promotion or spin-off or something. And we may be in different zones because when Doug suggested that to Dan, Dan started singing the theme from Three's Company. Now, why? I don't know. Right. I actually went and looked and was there ever a very special crossover with Three's Company and there was not. However, there was a spinoff though, which this technically wouldn't be a spinoff because we're here and there. I mean, anyway, he took the spinoff and ran with it. Do you know what the spinoff of Three's Company was?
Do you know that there were actually 2 spinoffs of Three's Company? But go ahead.
Oh, no, because when I found one, I just said that's close enough. And I stopped all of my Three's Company research. The one that I came up with was the Ropers.
Yes, the Ropers was a spinoff. There was also one, I want to say it was called Jack's Place, but it was Jack Tripper opening a restaurant after.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me. Three's a crowd, which is what I wanted to say to begin with, but I didn't.
Wait,
I should have.
What?
I had Three's a Crowd in my head as what the spinoff was called.
Yeah.
But I figured that would be too easy. Surely it can't be.
No network.
Three's a Crowd.
No network executive would have greenlit that project.
Three's a Crowd after Three's Company. The restaurant that Jack owned was called Jack's Place.
Oh.
Because I have so much worthless Three's Company knowledge rolling around in my head. Dan started singing the Three's Company theme for the 4 of us.
Yes. When it was brought up that we could do a cross promotion. So this might be more difficult than I'm realizing. What I'm saying is don't sign anything, Dewayne. Don't sign anything.
Don't commit us to paying for anything. Don't just give him our credit card and our PIN number. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we may. Okay. This may take some negotiation.
I'll put the ESPN Monday Night Football negotiators on that. No, wait, no.
Yeah, I won't do that. Don't do that. No,
don't do that.
The price, the price for a crossover is $100. We'll give you $200. Oh, that's not the way this works. That's not the way any of this works.
So did you have any follow-up? Anything you needed to clean up from last week?
Well, not clean up, but in the continuation of. So Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we discussed some of the problems the NCAA had between the men's basketball tournament and the women's basketball tournament in making things sort of the same, right? Clearly, the NCAA has taken a lot of heat, and they're listening, which makes the thing that happened this week even harder to wrap my head around, which is after they got down to 4 teams, the final four, the NCAA produced a hype video to get ready for the final four. And they took clips of the teams and put them all together. And do you know how many teams they featured in the hype video for the final four?
I'm going to guess not 4.
Not 4. They managed to produce a hype video that only featured 3 of the 4 teams and then released it to the public and then had to be called out by the University of Arizona, who said, excuse me, we're also in that tournament. To which the NCAA then had to take the video down and I believe apologize. I'm not even sure how, at this point, your job is to count to 4 and you can't even do that. I started to wonder at that point, this is no longer incompetence. I'm now just thinking they're just doing this on purpose now. This is just like trolling women's basketball. You guys made a big deal about how you didn't get a good enough weight room. Fine. One of your teams doesn't even exist. How do you like that?
Which team won the women's championship?
Stanford beat Arizona. Yes. So Arizona was actually in the final. Yeah.
Yeah. And they left them out. Which would explain, did you see the Arizona coach had to apologize for her language in the huddle?
No, she did not apologize.
She apologized to anybody who might have been offended.
She addressed it. She doesn't have to apologize in the huddle because after they won the semifinal game, they were having a private moment after. Again, it's a a lot of people in sports do this, right? The way you get motivated is you go after the disrespect and nobody believes in us and nobody respects us. A lot of times that's just made up. People just make up stuff to be aggrieved, or you could be the University of Arizona women's basketball team that's just left out of a 4-team hype video, and you actually are disrespected. So afterwards, they were using that as motivation, and a camera got put in it, and they picked up what was my thought is this, right? Look, you can have access, or you can have things nice and polished, but you don't get both, right? You don't get, I want to know what goes on inside the huddle. Oh dear. No, that should not go on inside the huddle. No. You get one or the other, but you can't have both.
Oh, we're going to get to this later in the show then too. So,
okay.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll put a pin in this and we will come back to that specific comment. Mark that tape.
Okay. The only other thing that I would like to follow up then on that is this is a follow-up piece from Lisa. So we're watching Monday night, we're watching the men's final. And on the court, on the outside, on the sidelines, they have printed messages of unity, including one of them that says unity, like right where the sideline is.
Yes.
One of them says equality. And Lisa looks at that and looks at the NCAA men's floor that says equality and says, I guess the NCAA only means equality for men. So she's not wrong. And I'm thinking, you guys may want to tone down your messaging or step up your game or something. I don't know. One way or the other, it's not a good look for the NCAA. Oh, by the way, the other thing I will point out, just as a final follow-up, is I did see that Mark, president, full confidence of the NCAA, I believe he put out a statement that said it was up to the women to come to him and tell the NCAA what they wanted. And my thought is, boy, is he bad at his job. Like he is so bad. I don't know. You got some stuff printed on your floor. If you just want to walk around your floor.
So, speaking of the NCAA, little bracket recap for the Talking to Todd pool.
Yes.
Which was not the only pool you were in last week. Finally.
There you go. Yes, exactly. Both of them were equally uncomfortable, just in different ways.
You finished second. I finished third.
Yeah, I see that. You managed to climb up out of the cellar and get all the way up to third. That was impressive. It was uncomfortable only because now I have to start caring about. The reason why I don't normally do pools is I don't want to care about games I don't care about just for the sake of seeing my name on the top of a standings. And now I'm invested in games between teams I don't care about and going, oh, what? I don't understand why that didn't work out. Like, anyway, so congratulations to Alan for correctly picking the winner. Yeah.
But he did not, for the record, pick the most games correctly.
That is true.
Right? Katie Caggiano, who led this competition at one point, fell to 7th because she picked Illinois among other Big Ten schools to make the finals. And she got 38 games correct. You got 36. Jansen got 36. Allen got 35. I only got 30. All of us finished ahead of Katie, who got 38 games right.
Yeah, and the problem I have with that is, because I did look at that, because what I was hoping for was, well, look, I finished second on the points, but I also finished second on the number of games picked correctly. So no matter what, I'm coming out of this in second place, regardless of what scoring system you use. So yeah.
So congratulations to Alan and to you, and I guess and to Katie for winning like the constructor's prize or something. I don't know. So anyway, we'll do it again next year. I don't know. Anyway, thanks to all 10 of you for getting in. Oh, let's see. Where are we this week? Main topics. Okay, what does this mean? You have another business opportunity for us?
I do. So I'm trying to make a running gag. So this will be week 2. I don't know. I'm just making that up as I go. Originally, so this is going to be another one of those ever popular visual gags. And originally it was just going to be a visual gag, but then I realized if some company gets to do this, I've now found, I think you and I could become branding experts and help companies rebrand. Not because we have any talent, but if this passes for what people consider to be branding, I think we're going to make some significant money here. Okay, so there's a Chinese company that does electronics called Xiaomi, and they've had a logo for a number of years, and here is the logo. Okay, I mean it's a standard standard logo, right?
Standard logo, square, burnt orange and white. It looks like me, M-I, kind of.
Yeah,
sort of. Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, I believe, the CEO of the company went on stage to unveil their new logo. And it's taken them an amazing amount of time, and they unveiled this.
They took the old one and they rounded the corners.
Yes.
How much money did they pay for that?
I don't know, but would it help you to know that the CEO also said that the company didn't just change the shape from square to round, but also changed the internal spirit as well as the mentality of the brand.
The, what?
Now, the designers did put in an amazing amount of work because they actually showed on stage a number of options they had for their new logo, because they went through a whole lot because they're changing the spirit of the company. So here's what the work as it progressed and what it looked like. Now, you're looking at this. I know what you're thinking. There's 24 logos on this page, and basically all they do is go from square to start rounding the corners, and each one the corners get more and more rounded until they eventually looked at all of that and picked number 3 is the one that they picked, by the way. And they said number 3 encompasses the internal spirit of the brand. The rest of these don't, but anyway.
These people could work for NBC Sports.
They could. You know who they couldn't work for, though, is Amazon. Because when Amazon changes a logo, they go big, and you notice it, right? Like, they're all in.
They are. That's right. There's no question about that.
So anyway, I'm thinking if this passes for worldwide cutting edge design, I'm thinking Talking to Todd now opens up a design studio, and basically what we do is we take your logo, and if it has round corners, we make them square, and if it has square corners, we make them round, and then we send a bill. Oh, I just shared our business plan.
You know what they did here? They put a square peg into a round hole.
Oh, yeah.
They figured out how to do it. No wonder this company is successful.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So as long as we're doing the visual jokes, and you mentioned NBC Sports, it's taken a hiatus for a few weeks, but it's back. This one is football, because you can tell because it says NFL football right on it, helpfully. And I've even given you, this is why they do this crap. I'm just going to because I see this in my news feed. I'm going to give you even part of the headline so you can experience what I saw. And it was this.
It's a picture of Aaron Rodgers, and it says Broncos to sign, not Aaron Rodgers, I'm guessing.
My first thought was, holy cow.
I mean, wow, that's news.
Yeah. And
as a Bears fan, I could get behind this plan.
Let's make this happen for everybody.
Yep, I'm in.
Instead, this is the actual headline.
Broncos to sign Shamar Stephen. Well, that's not Aaron Rodgers.
That is not Aaron Rodgers. Not only is it not Aaron Rodgers, if I give you $100 right now, could you tell me without Googling who Shamar Stephen is?
Nope.
Oh, the correct answer there was a newly signed member of the Broncos. You can Venmo me the money. But
well, it says to sign. That doesn't necessarily mean that he stepped off that cliff.
Good point. Apparently, he got cut by the Vikings. He was a 7th round draft pick in 2014. He is a defensive lineman and also plays special teams. So not Aaron Rodgers.
Well, you know what we do with 7th round lineman draft picks around here? We trade them, then we cut them.
Good point.
And we get their names wrong. But
other than that, All right. So sticking with NFL, this is nominally about sports, but it's more about the money around sports, because I know some people are like, let's not talk about sports, but I find some of the money stuff just ridiculous. So the NFL announced that it is going to a 17-game schedule starting this fall. That's going to have a whole lot of impacts, including things like so now records are completely out the door, right? So anybody who sets a season record now has an extra game to do it in. So we expect all the season records to start falling, and et cetera, et cetera. But there's also a money component, and now there's two different money components. So first of all, I saw an article this week about my team, the Denver Broncos, sent out a letter to their season ticket holders about what was going to happen because there's going to be now this unbalanced schedule, right? You play 17 games. That means 1 year you're going to have 9 home games. The next year you'll have 9 road games. And the way that they're doing that this year is the AFC gets the home games this year, and the NFC will get the extra, quote unquote, extra home game next year.
And I found that particularly interesting as a pseudo season ticket holder, right? Amy's family has season tickets.
Yeah.
So the note that I saw regarding this is there will still only be the preseason games get moved around, in that if you still only have 10 home dates.
Yes.
So there are only 3 preseason games. So if you are, let's see, this year the Bears go to Las Vegas. So this year the Raiders have 1 home preseason game and the extra. And this year the Bears have 2 home preseason games and 8 regular season games. So I'm still paying for two crappy games, but yeah.
This gets even. So as we mentioned, the season ticket package, when there were 8 home games and 2 preseason games, you still had to, your season ticket package was for 10 games.
Correct.
And basically the 2 preseason games were charged at full price, right? There was no discount for those, basically.
Well, they were cheaper than some games because they've gone to airline ticketing policies. How about that?
Ooh, sweet.
Demand pricing, right? So the Packers game costs more, the Vikings game costs more, the Jets game costs less, right? So the preseason games, while costing you less than the Packers game, is the price of a crappy matchup. How's that?
Okay. All right. What most of the AFC teams are doing, including the Broncos and I believe the Bills and a number of others, the way that they're approaching this is just great, is this. So we're still going to have 10 games. 9 of them are regular season games, and 1 of them will be a preseason game, as you said. Now, you've been paying for 10 games. But the regular season, by going from 16 games to 17 games, adds 6% to the season, right? So 1 game on top of 16 is 6%. So because of that, the Broncos are now increasing season ticket prices by 6% because you get an additional game, even though you were already paying. You were already paying for 10 games. You're now still paying for 10 games, but it has to go up by 6% to make up for the fact that we've added an additional game that you were already paying for. Now, the Bears probably haven't done that this year because they don't get the additional game. I would say wait till next year, look for that letter. But my other thought is this, given the way things work, where would you think that next year are the Broncos or the Bills or any other team going to go, we're going to decrease our ticket prices by 6% because we're only having 8 regular season games and 2? I don't think we're going to see that. So anyway, somehow the NFL is charging season ticket holders teams are charging season ticket holders for the same number of games and also raising prices because the number of games went up, even though you get the same number of games. Math.
But because it's the Bears, we pretty much have 10 games.
I was going to say, if you want to know how your team is set up, if your team has implemented demand pricing and your opponent has also implemented demand pricing, if they are a high ticket price for you and you aren't a high ticket price for them,
They think we're rivals, but is the nail really a rival to the hammer? So, what have you been watching this week?
In this category, before I tell you what we've been watching, I don't know if you heard this or not. Netflix announced a major acquisition that I think you might like. I don't know. Did you hear about the 2-movie deal they signed?
For Netflix.
Netflix signed a 2-movie deal.
And it's something that I like?
I believe so. I think you're gonna like this news.
Okay, I'll bite.
So
who'd they sign?
So Netflix signed a deal with Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig to make 2 sequels to Knives Out.
Nice.
Yeah. $450 million.
Knives Out 2, Electric Boogaloo.
More Knives Out. Anyway.
All knives, all the time.
Too fast, 2 knives. Anyway, that's... Anyway, I just wanted to let you know, because this is now part of what I do here is I let you know, hey, by the way, stuff that you've mentioned before on the show, I'm just doing follow-ups to let you know there might be more of it. Let's see. The question though was, what are we watching? Yeah, you just saw what I wrote, right? More trains, and yeah, actually, we started watching the. Oh yeah, by the way, that was the bit of feedback that I received that I couldn't remember earlier. I just got caught up with talking to Todd. Jeff with a J? Really? Yeah. Yep. I did that. Yep. That was me. Anyway, so Jeff and his wife Vicky in 2017 visited all 2,500 and some overland rail stations in Britain and made a series of it called All the Stations. And we've watched other videos of them doing other stuff, but we decided we were going to watch the series. So there's 60 some episodes, 12 to 20 minutes each. So we're now watching them in 2017 go to all of the stations, all the railway stations in England. It's also supposed to be like a travelogue thing. Hey, here's a castle. Here's a cathedral. Here's a castle next to a cathedral. Here's another castle. Here's another cathedral. There's a lot of castles and cathedrals. What I will tell you is we're like 10 episodes in, and I'm starting to see the look on their faces of realizing what they've committed to and that this is becoming significantly less fun. Like episode 1 is like, we're on a train. We're going to go visit all the train stations. This is awesome. And day 2, it's like, wow, we're really tired, but we're back at it. We're going to visit 47 more. And like by day 15 or 16, they're just like, I guess we got to get on this train. Oh my goodness. We're not even anywhere. We're not even outside of London yet.
So they ride the train into the station and then they have enough time to get off and run around quick and get back on before the train takes off? Because that would be a challenge. That I would watch.
The rule they have, let's put it this way. So the rule they have is the train itself has to stop at that station. The doors have to open. And usually when the doors open, they will step off onto the platform. Maybe not. Ideally, maybe keeping one hand on the train just so that the person knows you're not leaving. and then get back on the train. And then they do get off at stations and catch other trains and all of that. And there are places where they get off and then they go, hey, I mean, here's the weird part though. I mean, run around on the platform and get on like in the 30 seconds. I mean, that would be kind of interesting. In some of these, they're like, we have 20 minutes to our next train. So we've decided to leave the train station and walk downtown and go see the cathedral. And then you see on the way back them moving much faster, breathing heavier, going, this may have been a bad decision.
Dude, do you remember the mall challenge where you had to walk into the buckle or the gap and have to get to touch the back wall without an employee talking to you or approaching you to try to help? Do you ever remember this being a thing? Did you ever hear of this?
I do not. No.
Because the staff was so helpful, right? Almost overly helpful. So the challenge was to see if you could get your way back and touch the back wall before anybody talked to you. So this would be the challenge at the rail station. Doors open, you got to sprint out and touch the back wall of the station before sprinting back to get on the train before it takes off again. Without anybody arresting you or tackling you because, you look like a terrorist or something.
You know what? I'll send Jeff and Vicky a note that if they want to redo the 20 weeks of their life it took to do this, Jeff and Vicky, we have a suggestion. If you haven't touched, you know what you need to do is there's a sign on the wall, right? Every station has the sign. It's not just the back wall. You have to touch the sign.
Touch the sign. There you go. See, there you go.
Touch, yes. and then there you go.
Yep. Thank you, Monk.
So what are you watching this week?
I can't believe that you haven't watched this. Or
I'm so busy in Trainland and YouTube. I don't have time to watch almost anything at this point. But go ahead.
Because also on Netflix, and this came out a couple weeks ago, season 3 of Formula One Drive to Survive. Have you watched it already?
I watched season 1.
Yes.
And I watched the first episode of season 2 last year and didn't make it through season 2. And I have not watched season 3. No. I take it you have, however.
So I watched neither season 1 or season 2, but my friend Marge recommended this to me. So shout out to Marge. Because which, for the record, is my friend Marge, not my grandmother Marge.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I can give a shout out to my grandmother as well, but
she's not a big Drive to Survive fan on
she's
on
not. Netflix. No, and I'm also not sure that she understands what a podcast is at 97. But okay.
Some weeks, neither do we. Anyway, go ahead.
Clearly, but Marge recommended this because we were on a call. She's like, I've been watching Drive to Survive, and I have to tell you, as much as I would like to work, I also would like to take a PTO day the rest of the day and finish Drive to Survive because it's that good. I'm like, okay, I will put this on my list. I'm not a big F1 fan. couldn't pick the drivers out of a lineup. The stories that they tell, what I want to know is, and I know you follow F1.
Yep.
What I want to know.
I'm nodding my head on an audio podcast. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. You're not
throwing me
helpful.
for a
Thank you.
loop.
Yes. Yeah. So he's nodding. Yes. Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. What I want to know is, were the storylines that they covered this year on Drive to Survive, were you as an F1 fan knowledgeable of all the behind the scenes things that they captured? And it's not exactly a spoiler alert, because everybody knows at this point that Seb isn't driving for Ferrari anymore. Right.
Yep.
But the fact that he announced that he was leaving on the day that Ferrari did their celebration of their 1,000th race was just a little, just here, let me turn that knife. Let me stick it in and let me just twist on that. Just a little, let me and there were multiple times like that on this Netflix series. Just really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. And I learned, my guess is that this is their plan. I'm now going to watch an F1 race or two this season.
So when Netflix came up with this idea, or the production company that Netflix is going through for season 1, and they wanted behind the scenes access, the two biggest teams in Formula One currently are Mercedes and Ferrari, right? And have been for years.
Right.
Mercedes and Ferrari opted out and said they did not want to participate in season 1 because they did not want to give behind the scenes access and did not want to control the narrative of what goes on, because they want to, it's branding, right? You want to control the story. You want to do this. They're very secretive, right? Ferrari spends upwards of $400 million a year to race 2 cars 20 times a year. They're very paranoid. So they didn't participate. So season 1 had all of these stories without the two biggest teams. And the team that won. So they didn't really get to cover the winner of most of the races and of the season. So they had to tell the other stories. And it was we believe, because Netflix never tells you anything unless it's popular, and then they just give you weird number. They give you the Amazon numbers. It's one of the most popular ever. Well, what does that mean in numbers? Well, we don't know. We don't have numbers. It's just, anyway, it was an incredibly huge success for Formula One. And so for season 2, both Mercedes and Ferrari said, "You want to sign? I want to sign up for that. Do you need some access? I don't. We've got stories. You would not believe the crap that's going down behind the scenes here, because what they figured out is, while they were worried about being paranoid about giving away their secrets, what they didn't count on was how much free marketing they were going to get. So they realized that was more free marketing than what they were going to lose in losing trade secrets. And so they joined for season 2.
Hey, this is Dewayne. So at this point, I mentioned Formula One, but for the life of me, can't understand why I didn't say in 50 words or less. So there's a whole lot of stuff here that I whooshed out, and you're welcome, toddlers. We now join the previously recorded episode of Talking to Todd. It's maybe still in progress. I don't know.
See, you should have said in 50 words or less. I now realize.
This one's on me. An hour and 45 minutes.
if you want to talk about obscure sports, and then go, hey, what do you think about that? Trust me, America's Cup, sure. Soccer, sure. Formula One, whatever. Let's go.
Yeah, but F1 is an obscure sport.
No,
I mean, it is over here.
It is over here. Everywhere else in the world, it's one of the most popular sports in the world, and usually the top driver in Formula One is in the top 2 or 3 most famous and most well compensated athletes in the world.
Yep. The other thing that I was a little confused about is Daniel Ricciardo.
Yep.
Who drives for Renault. Is his number 3 or is he sponsored by 3?
I believe his actual number is 3. Yes,
okay.
I don't believe 3 or the letter Z is sponsoring him. No. Daniel left Renault for McLaren this year, and Renault spun out the team, and the new team is, the spelling is Alpine. So do you know how that's wrong? And this is why everybody hates European sports. That's Alpine.
Well, it's the Madrid Grand Prix though, isn't it?
Oh, good point. Yes. Boy, wouldn't that be something? Boy.
I'm here for the Madrid Grand Prix. My brother-in-law grew up in Madrid, so I can.
Yeah, so you're allowed. You're allowed.
I guess. Did you learn anything this week? Are we going to get out of this inside 2 hours?
Yeah, so I did learn. Well, it's not what I learned. I learned this. I don't know what the proper pool temperature is, but I can tell you it's not 68. So I will report back. But it's not 68. 69 and 70 aren't looking good either. So I'm assuming it's north of that. So that's what I learned. That is not refreshing. How about you? What did you learn?
It's either what I learned or what I'm going to learn this coming week. I'm in my office today working, and there's kind of a crash thud on the other side of the house, but I got up out of the chair because I was in the middle of stuff, checked the dog's okay, fine, I went back to work. Amy comes home. Hey, have you been in our closet? No, why? I walk into our bedroom, into the closet. All of her clothes that were hanging on the wire rack shelving and everything are in a heap, and the wire rack has pulled off of the wall.
Well, there's your problem.
And I said, oh, I guess that's what that crash was.
Dewayne.
So
ever vigilant.
So I guess I learned that wire shelving, when installed by the home builders, isn't as sturdy as one might think. And I'm going to learn how to install new shelving. So, content. As I said at the top of the show, yeah.
At least you got a reason to use the new set of tin snips now.
Oh, hey, I do. If only I could find them. The music is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. It's available on Incompetech.com under a Creative Commons Attribution license. We're going to give the short version here. No G, no space. Tweeted us at Talking to Todd. The voicemail that we listed at the top of the show is 515. That's a key key metric for success. 515, also CPA. That's 515-257-6272. You can visit us at the Tuba City home office. The website is talkingtotodd.com. Thanks as always to our listeners. Please tell your friends. Send us your feedback at talkingtotodd.com. Todd?
So just to clear up, Netflix did not pay $450 million for the two sequels to Knives Out. They paid $469 million of that. Rian Johnson and his producing partner will reportedly each net upwards of $100 million. But even more importantly, Daniel Craig will make significantly more money from these two movies than he did as James Bond. He is also set to make $100 million to film two more films as Benoit Blanc. So, good work if you can get it.
Wow. Are we in the wrong business?
The reason he has no time to die is because he's busy filming the Knives Out sequel.
You know, I guess if I looked like that, I could do that. I don't, so I'm doing this.
I'm just thinking with that kind of money, that makes, considering the Knives Out money, that makes the Bond series his indie phase when he was doing it because he wanted the art and like the story and wasn't cashing in.
Oh, good work, Dan.
Next year at Sundance, a small little indie film, James Bond.
No time to die. Maybe that's why they're holding it.
Oh, they're waiting for a distributor.
On that note, we've been talking to Todd.
I may have gone a little long on that Formula One stuff.
Sorry, I'm in second place in Formula One. That's how long it took me to catch up.